Hey Drew, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you, man?
Excellent. Hey, I'm not very good Seattle Seahawks fan to be scheduling this right in the game.
Yeah, dude, this is a bad way to start a discussion about attitude
Yeah.
because the
They're
Kansas City game was this morning, or afternoon for you, and then now it's the Seahawks game. So yeah, I'm
yeah,
not
it's not
starting out
looking
good.
pretty either. What, negative yardage
No,
already? Yeah.
oh, it's horrible,
Yep.
horrible. It's like the Minnesota game all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they
Yeah,
wake up and start doing some blocking here. But
yeah, no kidding. But hey, great metaphors, man. Wake up, do some blocking. You know, the best offense is a good defense, and the best
yep.
defense is a good offense. So, I think it kind of, talking about how my team is sucking right now, kind of may give us food for thought.
Yeah, I because no matter what conditions you're in, right? The attitude you wear, almost like the clothes you wear, is
Yeah,
is part of the fight. And if you get down in the doldrums, not only is that gonna limit your potential and limit how well you're gonna do, but it's also gonna
yeah,
impact those around you. Because attitudes can be contagious, and
yeah.
if you can
They
show
are.
up with a good attitude, that can be a game changer. So
Yeah. No, they are. And so it's good that we're going to be talking about attitude today. Um, we just got done really talking exhaustively about the inner triangle of life, which you and I kind of agreed was could be culminated into willpower, skills, habits, and energy. These three things working together, and that feeds the outer triangle of life, which is attitude, relationships, and service. So now we're going to kind of break down attitude. How is it built? How is it maintained? And how does it impact what type of relationships come into our life?
yeah,
So I don't know
well,
if you want to start discussion. Go ahead. You could take it away.
it's not. You just mentioned that it's critical for relationships, and I agree. But that's not. That's just not the. That's not everything, because it's you as well, right? Because if you have a positive, enthusiastic attitude, you know um, that's going to be an impetus for you, to get after it. Yeah. So I had three things I'd like to. Are you good with me throwing those
All
out
right.
there? I think that
Come on, man. Let's go. Let's get into it.
yeah. So number one, I would say you have to have awareness. You have to
Oh,
be, you have to have a third party objective of hey, how am I being perceived? But it's about yourself. Like, how are you being taken? But then you also need to be aware about your environment, because sometimes
okay.
the attitude might not be right for the situation, right? If someone is being solemn because of bad news about a death in the family, you almost have to adapt your attitude accordingly. Otherwise, you're going to be obnoxious and actually insulting if you're not careful. So
Yeah.
for me, awareness, because attitude, it's good for yourself, but it's also important for others. And so that sort of dovetails right off of what we just talked about. And as a leader in the army, especially when the going is getting tough, if you can maintain that positive attitude, that is critical.
Mm-hmm.
Enable that teamwork, be part of the team. It can make all the difference. And I just went through some. So that's one piece. So awareness. You have to be aware of yourself and what environment you're in and how you're going to be perceived. And you need to be able to turn your dials accordingly. And number two, actually, I just went through some interesting Honeywell training, for leadership and managers just a couple months ago, and they said that it's really important to be green on the outside. Even if you're feeling like junk and you're a lemon on the inside, it's important to have that green on the outside and not show that sometimes. Now, when you're having a bad day, you can share that when the time is right, and show that humility that you're not perfect all the time and whatnot. But you can't be a sourpuss, because then you'll be dragging people down, and you got to be
Okay,
able.
so what? Number two is don't be a sourpuss.
Yeah, be green on the outside. Yep.
Okay, green on the and green is what good?
Yeah, green is
Green.
good. Green is positive. Green is,
Okay.
mission focused. And don't you got to be careful of what you say. Like, if you're always like, frantic and running around and trying to get a bunch of stuff done, or are you calm, cool, and collected, in control, taking things as they come, that's you can be a steady force in that respect, so be positive and green on the outside, despite what might be going around in your head, because you might be, jumping from thing to thing. And then the last is really about a mindset. I think I talked about mindsets with you last week before our last event, got delayed. But I settled on what type of mindset I think it needs to be. And you need to have a developer mindset. And I like the word developer. I actually got this from a book review that I read. So I think I need to buy the book and send it to you, because the book's titled, Die Empty. It says you need to leave everything on the table because life is too short, right? And if you have a developer mindset, that will enable you to develop yourself into a more prosperous life. And then also you can set the stage for others to meet their potential. And to have a developer mindset, you need three things. And the three things are: you have to map out your goals. So you have to have something that's you're focused on. You have to, so it's called mapping. And then you have to have a mindset of making. You have to do what is required, and you need to do it with urgency and diligence. You can't just sit on your laurels as a developer. You got to get after it, and you got to do the hard work. And then the last thing is three M's, is meshing. This meshing sort of a weird word, but have a developer mindset, it says, this book recommends that you have to develop your skills as you're going through life in order to enhance what you're trying to develop. What are the relevant skills to what you're developing? And I think that mindset, though, which ties back to our inner triangle, right, with skill development and skills being a critical foundation, I think that it fits right in. So there's my attitude for you. But I'm interested in
Man,
seeing what you have.
that was pretty good, man. How am I gonna compete with that? You got all these M's: mindset, map, goal, making, meshing.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Mine are three S's. So here we go. So look, let me tell people a little bit about how I think attitude really dictates your destiny. Here I sit in prison, um, 21 and a half years in, on a 27-year beat. And you know when it started? I mean, yeah, obviously what I did is why I'm here, but my attitude set the ground. You talk about a developer, when you're developing something, you start with groundwork. Even in learning to do plumbing, it's called the first rough. So that pipe that you're saying, that P-trap underneath your kitchen sink, that goes down into a pipe that's eventually under the house, that goes to a pipe that's under the ground. So you got to do groundwork first. And I really feel like attitude is groundwork. When you said that thing about, having the appropriate attitude in situations, I mean, the Bible verse that came to mind was, mourn with them that mourn, rejoice with them that rejoice. So yeah, obnoxious, performance type, some sort of fake happiness. That's not attitude. That's performance. But you have to meet people where they're at, and you have to be empathetic. So, anyways, my attitude failed. I didn't have skills. I didn't have good habits, and I had low energy, and so I had a bad attitude.
Yep.
And the relationships that I drew in my life were people that also had a bad attitude, and we all had attitude. We did bad things. So, thank God, God changed my life. He changed my heart, and I got a good attitude. And I got around good people that also had a good attitude. Ironically, these people were also in the depths of prison with me in closed custody. But we had hope. And as I sat and thought about, what what was the thing that really helped shape our attitude, this is what I came up with: self-worth, sense of purpose, and striving. Now let me get into that. Self-worth. How I feel about myself. Because, you know, you're going to have people, you're going to have frustrations. You're going to have people try your patience in life, whether that's in school and in work or at home. Um, but ultimately, what you believe to be true about yourself and your life is going to determine how you interact with both positive and negative things in your life. Something that I wrote down. Do I feel smart? Am I capable? These are things that I subconsciously know and believe about myself, and it determines how I interact with everybody. Do people like me? A lot of people around here, believe it or not, the nastiest ones feel like no one likes them anyways, so there's no point in trying. So they got a bad attitude. You know why they got a bad attitude? So they think no one likes them. They don't even try to be likable. A lot of people drop out of school, not because they can't learn, but because they've convinced themselves, I'm not smart. And I had sold myself the same lie. I ended up getting a high school diploma in jail, and I graduated from college in prison. But it wasn't until that later stage in life that I learned to believe these certain things about myself. And once I started believing I'm a child of God, I like myself, and people like me, and I'm capable. I'm up to the task. I learned a lot of that through weight training. A lot of different athletic abilities.
Yeah, just wait till you get out. I'm gonna show you how to lift some weights as soon as you get out. I don't know what you've been doing in there.
Hey, dude, I've been doing 2 days. Let me tell you something. But no, if you would have saw me play some sports, you'd be like, "That's an athletic disability." But anyway, so let me just kind of wrap this up. So once I had a sense of self-worth, that changed how I approach life. That changed how I approach people. That changed how I approach problems. Um, because I'm not dealing with the trials and I'm dealing with just small stuff, dude. For you people out there, it could be traffic. For us in here, we have similar difficulties, but it's just built in a different way. But when you're dealing with it from an empty sense of self worth, you erupt on everything. But when you feel full on the inside, man, you can deal with things on the outside a lot better. Okay, let me move on. Sense of purpose. A lot of our wayward thinking and wayward acting is because we really don't know where we're supposed to be going in life. And when I got a sense of purpose, and in prison, this is important, when you know why you're here, you know what lane you need to be in. People that end up in gangs and cliques and really negative stuff is because they really don't know where their life is going or what they're meant to do with their life. And I don't say this looking down or thinking down on anybody. I'm saying it because I was one of the most lost people. But once I know why I showed up, and once you know why you show up, that really changes your attitude. And the other one is striving. So knowing what you're meant to do in life isn't the same as going after it. A lot of people know what they're meant to do. They know they're meant to preach. They know they're a teacher. An engineer. You have to go after that thing. And I'll tell you what, when I'm reading the books that you and I are studying together, or when I'm studying Spanish, or even when I'm leading these guys in these workouts, when I'm doing the things that I know that are lined up with my purpose in my life, I feel a sense of satisfaction. And that gives me a good attitude. And I can deal with the Seahawks losing. Hopefully they don't, but I can deal with the Seahawks losing. I got a good attitude.
Yep.
All right, man, go ahead.
No, that's pretty good.
Self-worth, sense of purpose, striving.
Yep. Yeah. So developer mindset. There's a similarity there with, striving. I think there's some parallelism.
Yeah.
You know the. Yeah. purpose and the striving, and that meshes with the. I think that's pretty good. I did not focus on the self worth, as much as you did. I think that yeah, having that confidence, and that confidence in yourself feeds into your courage, and then your courage makes you go after life at a at a high, at a better posture,
Yeah.
right? And it's a posture of
Yeah.
attitude. And so I think that's pretty good. Yeah, you're a little. That was a little more foundational than what I was looking at. I was looking more of the tactical. Like
Oh,
I was
thanks, man.
almost assuming that already, and I was saying, okay, you got to be aware of your environment. You gotta present a good. You gotta have a game face. Especially if you're in a leadership position. You can't be showing, weakness too much, even if you're not feeling good on the inside. You still need to, have a game face. So I think that was a little difference of what we had, and no, I think
Hey,
it's
you know what my cellie said?
but
We were talking about this in our cell one day, and he said, "Who are you on your worst day?" That
yeah,
I mean, and so he's like, "Look, we all have bad days, right? But as you elevate, the characteristics about who you are and how you interact with the world, how you interact with difficulties and challenges, you know, in the '90s, who I was on my worst day might be me shooting at somebody or doing something really terrible. Or now, me on my worst day is I said a curse word.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep,
So I've
yep,
changed by changing my posture. Not only is my high higher, but my low isn't as high. My low is higher.
yep,
And I'm like, some people are like, oh, that was your bad day. Good God, man! Like that's a good day for me.
yep, yep,
And so the metaphor that here's what I wrote: good mechanics will enable you to bear a greater weight in life with greater results. Your form,
yeah, yeah, or your
work
posture.
on your mechanics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
posture.
posture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like if you're a boxer and if you have good form, good posture,
Yeah,
even if you're dog dead tired, you're still gonna have your hands up protecting your face, and you're still gonna be able to,
yeah,
still be able to fight the fight. Um,
yeah,
and I like the analogy with that too of in the army they used to have this phrase and even a little diagram. It was sort of like a little graph, and they would talk
yeah,
about unit performance. And unit performance requires a lot of different things, right? You got to have lots of people working together, in time, everybody knowing what's going on and working, and they call it a band of excellence, right? And the issue is
oh,
organizationally over time, you're going to lose people out of your organization, and then you're going to have new bodies, and so you got to retrain them. And so the issue is your band of excellence is going to go down. And so what can you do organizationally so your low is still satisfactory? It's not below the band, so
right,
you're
right,
incompetent,
right,
right? But you can look at that as an
right.
individual or as an organization.
Yeah,
How are you on your bad day? What is Tiger Woods on a bad golf day? Does he still shoot par, or is he
right.
still shoot negative
Yeah,
three?
he's still better than the best of us.
Yeah,
You know?
yep. And,
Yeah.
and so how can you make your
Well,
worst
he's not
day
a good driver.
yeah,
I want him to drive the golf ball. I don't want him to drive my car. I'm sorry. I hope no one out there is like a lover of Tiger Woods.
yeah. Well,
I
no.
can't judge him. Look where I'm at.
You know what? When were we talking about humor? Because humor and having joy, or being able to make jokes and not take yourself too
I think it's
seriously.
energy. I think it was an energy.
Yeah, so that's another
Yeah.
piece, right? Because if
Yeah.
you can, my issue is sometimes I'm just like I'm too serious. I'm taskmaster, go 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 go, and I'm
Yeah.
all
The Colonel.
yeah, I'm the colonel. Now I'm the manager in this new job, and my
Oh,
issue is when I come home after work, I got to unplug and I got to change. I got to
yeah,
be
for real.
aware. Okay, I'm in a new
Yeah.
environment, Eric. Your
Yeah.
attitude you need an attitude adjustment because you need to be,
Yeah.
be more lovey dovey and user friendly and, be dad and husband and, you got to change
Yeah.
roles. And so,
Yeah.
um, that's a key part with me. I just can't get stuck in a rut and be simple minded. I need to be more dynamic. So
Yeah. Hey, I was reading out of Resilience, Eric Crichton's book, and gosh, he had this great story in there today. It had to do with this play that Sophocles put on regarding the Trojan War, and typically they would do these Greek tragedy plays at sunrise. So everybody came down to see this play, and so Odysseus and all his men sailed off to fight the Trojan War, and this great archer named Philoctetes. How do you pronounce that name? Do you know the name?
oh yeah, well, I remember reading this. Yeah,
Philoctetes. Anyways, he steps on hallowed ground. He gets bit by a venomous snake,
yep,
and his foot begins to rot, and it stinks, and it won't heal. And the men don't even want to be around him. And so Odysseus tells his men, row Philoctetes to an abandoned island and leave him there. And so they did. They just go drop him off. And now Philoctetes is stuck on this Greek island with a rotting foot that refuses to heal. And Odysseus, they sail off and they fight the war in Troy. 10 years pass, and they still haven't won the war. And basically one of the gods comes and tells Odysseus, you're not going to win the war without Philoctetes and his magical bow. So he hops in a boat, sails to the island, sees Philoctetes is pissed. Are you talking about the epitome of a bad attitude? 10 years abandoned, alone,
yeah,
with a rotting foot? He's irate, and he wants to, he's trying to convince his country. He doesn't want to go. He just wants to go back to Greece, get healed, and never deal with it. He never did. Anyways, and so Heracles, some god, comes and speaks, and the only way that your wound is going to heal is if you fulfill your destiny. You have to go help him fight that war. And so I like how Eric Crichton's distilled this situation down. He said, number one, you don't abandon your wounded.
yeah,
And number two, this is what I wrote down. We must realize that our wounds and mistreatment in this life give us something. They provide us a tool and a lens. A tool to build a better way to live, think, and to be. And a lens so that we may see all the things that we have to be grateful for and the purpose for which we were born. So what Eric Crichton said, he says that the thing that Philoctetes, whatever his name is, realizes that no matter how bad your wounds or mistreatment, it doesn't nullify your obligation to serve.
yeah. That's pretty good.
I know it's a little bit, it's a powerful story, but it made me think about attitude.
Well, yeah.
In the end, it was about attitude.
Well, I think one of the what Christianity really emphasizes the importance of forgiveness, right? And just forgiving yourself if you don't meet your, what you want, and but also, forgive those that trespass against you, right? Because if you don't do that, then you will carry around resentment, and resentment is a poison. And if you don't, um, get rid of it, identify it when it emerges, and if you don't, um, take that, vaccine or that anti-venom, it's going to kill you, and so I think that's the lesson there, right? Is, he had to get past it. He had to forgive and forget, go do what needed to be done because it was the right thing, even though he had a transgression against him. And that required him changing his mindset and purging himself of the resentment.
And what about this? Your purpose is bigger than your pain.
Yeah.
And once you really sink your teeth into that, it changes your ability to bear difficulties. So a lot of guys in prison program. But program is it's probably similar to the military. What they call it? MOA?
Oh, MOS. That's like a military.
MOS.
Yeah, military occupational specialty. Yeah.
Yeah. So in prison, it's your program.
Okay.
and it's you get up and you go to school or you go to work, and maybe you're a porter, maybe you work in industries, and there's people that just go through the motion. They're just doing their time. There's no sense of purpose, man. But then there's a rare guys that attack every single task because they could see the life on the other side of it. They could see the fruit
Yep.
that the discipline is building, and so they don't quit. When they get frustrated, they don't quit. They walk away from their obligations because they see the purpose in their life beyond that.
Yep.
But
Hey,
people that don't see the purpose, they give up. They walk away from relationships. They walk away from programs, jobs, because it was a temporary thing. So how you see your purpose, that really affects the attitude you bring to life when you get up every day.
yeah. So to me, that resonates with some of the things you highlighted, right? But to me, that's the developer mindset, right? Because if you have a developer mindset, whether it's relationships, whether it's refining your plumbing skills that you're doing right now. I mean, you're already a master carpenter. All
Yeah.
these things you've gotten all this education.
Thank you
You
for bringing that up.
Yep, you've been honing all those skills, right? And and that's what I've been doing in my life too. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm never done learning. There's a
Yeah.
whole batch of things I need to learn in this job right now. And then this
Yeah.
weekend, I've been thinking about them. Okay, how am I going to attack them? How do I develop that skill set? How do I get my team to have that skill set? Because that's going to help us deliver what our business needs.
Yeah. No, it's good, man. I have okay, so one analogy is I had was how you squat, like when you do back squats.
Yeah.
The first thing you do is, when you approach the weight, how you get that weight situated on your traps. You carry that bar up too far, too high up, it's going to push you forward. If you carry it down lower, it might slip. There's that perfect in between where the bar rests right on the meat of your traps. You know, the next thing is, when you lift the weight out of the rack, get in your stance. So you don't want your feet too narrow, too wide. These are things that are important mechanics of squatting. And then you begin your squat. And so, it's the mechanics of how you approach. And for me, okay, having my relationship with God intact, having my relationship with those that I love intact. If there's something wrong, we communicate. We fix that. We don't leave things broken.
Yeah.
We put things away at the end of the day. These are the things that help you bear a greater weight in life.
Yeah, no, that's pretty
And we
good.
got a minute and a half left. I'm giving it to you.
All right, and that attitude thing is it's vital as a leader, because that's really that's almost your handshake, without the physical touching, your handshake with others. Is it confident, reliable, some aspirational or inspirational, and then when there's bad news, right? How do you react when somebody disappointed you? If they didn't do something you wanted them to do, or they didn't
Yeah,
do it the highest level that you expected, how do you react, and what is your resultant attitude? Do you take it as a
yeah,
learning opportunity, and then try to
yeah,
start seeing how you can reverse the outcome and make things better?
yeah,
So
yeah,
um, it's and that's dependent on awareness. So I felt in the military and all the leadership positions I've been in, maintaining a good attitude, just through thick and thin, especially even when mistakes are made, or people are disappointing you, really is important, because then you'll be reliable, you'll be trusted, and you can really set the stage for how good your team is going to be overall.
Hey, remember Forrest Gump? You ever see the movie Forrest Gump?
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it.
Man, he saved everybody in the Vietnam War, even Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
But he had a good attitude, a stupid good attitude, but he had a good attitude. Ended up saving everybody.
Yep.
Lieutenant Dan was pissed. No one want to be saved. But
Hey,
you're
good
right, man.
talking with you,
Your
Drew.
attitude. Oh yeah, I love you.